Hi, my name's Simon Phipps and I am the Director of Standards and Policy for the Open Source Initiative. Open UK is an affiliate of the Open Source Initiative and we've collaborated over the standards portion of the survey. I wrote a short piece for the survey report talking about standard essential patents and their impact on open source software. Standard essential patents are patents that were created by the contributors to the standard and are reserved and then licensed under what are described as reasonable and non-discriminatory terms to anyone who wants to implement the standard. It comes as a surprise to a lot of people to discover that what they think are open standards not only have to be paid for to be read, but also you need to go and negotiate one-to-one with a variety of technology companies to get a license to implement them in your product. This has been historically acceptable in the worlds of consumer electronics and mobile phones, where the work of licensing the patent can be hidden in the hardware. But increasingly, as the world is turning to software, it is becoming a conflict point between the world of software implementers and the world of very large electronics companies. I assert that if we are going to see open source play a strong and stimulating role in the innovation in our industry and in the UK in particular, we need to have a world where standard essential patents are no longer tolerated in open standards. They should instead be waived or freely licensed without negotiation. The reason for this is because when you include a standard essential patent in a piece of open source software, every developer will be under different terms for using the software. Some will be able to use it freely because of cross-licensing agreements between their employer and the owners of the patent. Others will find themselves having to go and individually negotiate terms and possibly find themselves in a need to join a patent pool or in some other way be discriminated against, despite the non-discriminatory nature of the licensing. That's clearly totally unacceptable to an open source community where many of the developers who are participating are not actually employed by a large corporation, and consequently most open source communities avoid standards that have standard essential patents in them. My call is to end the practice of tolerating standard essential patents in open standards and to develop an innovation universe where we measure innovation based on adoption and contribution rather than on the false metric of patents and patent revenue. If you'd like to talk about that some more, that's what I do for OSI. I represent OSI at Etsy and I work at ISO and other standards bodies looking after this topic and protecting the definition of open source in that universe. You can reach me as simon@opensource.org. Enjoy the rest of the event.